I guess the other thing I want to put out, maybe it's about right, because it sounds like we're going to get some more questions and we could go with that flow, but just to complete the picture of the chapter. So the other thing I wanted to say is those are the methods that I identified. And then I wanted to deal with this issue of we don't just talk about methods, which tend to take us into, this is the doing. But I also wanted to then sort of pull back and say, we can think about these in also using different words like qualities. We talk about the qualities of the person, and I'm talking about the person, the practitioner. We talk about, and of course there are, certain qualities like being warm, acceptant, and so on. When we talk about attitudes, having maybe a particular attitude or a perspective, or what John K. Wood talked about as psychological posture, that is embodied in the person-centered approach. We also talk about conditions, which I think is particularly interesting, because then when we talk about conditions, we're actually talking about environmental conditions. So Roger's idea of necessary and sufficient conditions was a sort of biological metaphor. It's almost like or environmental metaphor, saying if we create the right conditions, the person grows. So the focus is less on the person of the client or even the person of the therapist, but more the environment that we co-create. Like the warmth of our friendship, our relationship is part of the conversation. There's an environmental quality. The fact that you welcome people, the fact that I speak a bit of Māori as a greeting, the fact people sign in, say where they're from, that's all part of the environmental conditions of this event. And then we talk about skills. Well, we don't, not then, but we also talk about skills. And I think sometimes people talk too much about skills divorced from theory, which is then the next chapter. Mm-hmm. And of course, these days we're now talking increasingly about competences. We get measured about our competence. We get often accredited on the basis of competence and so on. And then I end up talking about praxis, which is a sort of more radical way to think about the integration of theory and practice from a practice base. So I've got these 7 methods, but I've also got some discussion and some critique of these, where we're going, because I think we're going increasingly in a sort of neoliberal environment towards, measuring competence rather than saying, is this person kind? Do you think they're going to make a good therapist? And I've seen, sadly, I think over the years, people qualify who are competent in a rather sort of clunky way, but I wouldn't necessarily want to refer to them because they don't seem very kind or expansive or all of that. So that's why I think these other words are quite useful to talk about.
Yeah,